Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshipper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come.
Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Spokane, where our mission is to join together to create a nourishing liberal religious home and to champion justice, diversity, and environmental stewardship in our wider world. Or in short, to create community, find meaning, and work for justice. Great to see all of you. Welcome to each and every one of you, all that you bring with you to this space, all of your uniqueness, your unique beliefs, your background, your lifestyle, your experiences, and your differences. All that make you who you are is welcome here this morning. And this includes, of course, those who hear me say this each Sunday when I'm here, as well as those who may be hearing it for the first time today. And, of course, those who are streaming live with us, we're always glad to know that you are here with us, too. So welcome to everyone. I'm so glad to be back. As many of you know, a group of us, of about 7 of us, went to Romania, the Transylvania area, where we visited our partner church and also saw some wonderful historic Unitarian Universalist, or Unitarian sites, I should correct myself, in that part of the world. So you'll be hearing more about that, but all of our friends at our partner church send their love and their greetings to all of you, and I'm thinking not working? Not very loud? Elliot, can we get this up just a little louder? A taller mic. There you go. Thank you, my friend. So let me start over. Welcome to the Unitarian. Anyway, I think I was about to say that, believe it or not, they're 10 hours ahead, but we have some faithful viewers of our services, some folks who join us via our live stream all the way from our village in Felshirako. So I want to say hi to all of our friends who might be watching there tonight. I'm guessing the Petu family and Reverend Palco and Reverend Oshi. So it was so good to be with all of you, and thanks again for your tremendous hospitality and love. We already miss you and look forward to next time. This is a special day for us here at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Spokane because it is our Social Justice Sunday, in which we highlight many of the activities that we are involved in. I say many because we can't get to them all. There's too many of them, and we forget a lot of them. Someone reminded me, for example, after the first service, that we hadn't mentioned anything about Meals on Wheels, and I think we probably have about 15 members or so that are involved in that ministry. So lots going on. For a full list of all that we're engaged in and some of the things you can actually do to get involved, please visit the social justice tables in the back and pick up one of these pamphlets that tell you all about the things we're involved in and some of the ways you can get involved. And you'll also have an opportunity after the service to talk with folks who are involved in various aspects of social justice. But we don't want to start our service or jump in too far without giving you the opportunity to greet one another, because that's a very important part of what we do here as well. I ask only that you, as always, say hi to those that you know and love and look forward to seeing each Sunday, as well as greeting maybe some new friends today, meeting some new folks. And if you are joining us for the first time or more recently, please don't be shy. As I always say, we may, on Social Justice Sunday, I guess I could say we may very well participate in the Bite to Go program, but we don't bite. So please greet one another.
My name is Barb Stubing, and I'm lighting the chalice this morning for the Unitarian Universalists for Justice in the Middle East. The UUJME is a social justice organization focused on education and advocacy with love for Palestine and Israel. There are 24 local chapters, of which we are a member. In the last few years, our local congregation has offered 2 educational programs, an all-church read of the Lemon Tree, discussion groups, and a Palestinian dinner. We facilitated 3 talks within our church and 2 talks in the community. If you would like ways to make a difference and be involved, you can meet me at the back of the table to learn about the BDS, Boycott, Divestment, and Sanctions Movement, olive oil purchasing, and education opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you, Barb. Barb is going to light our chalice, the symbol of our faith, the symbol of our unity and our solidarity, of our openness and our inclusion, of our community and our individual uniqueness. May this small flame be our offering of warmth to those who are cold and alone, and a light to those in darkness. May it be a flame that ignites justice in our world and a beacon of hope to those in need, and may it reflect at least a spark of truth wherever truth has been lost, and cast a healthy shadow of doubt wherever it's been found.
Good morning, I'm Pam Davies. Excuse me. I remember when I was a girl going with my mom to deliver a Christmas basket to a family in need. She did this, excuse me, every year, trying to help some family out, doing her part to strengthen the community. And I remember as a young woman going off to weekly activist meetings or events, and my friends and boyfriend would joke that I was going to my Save the World group. It was not until I joined this church about 30 years ago that I realized the underlying beliefs were the first and last principle of the UUA. I believe in the inherent worth and dignity of every person, and it is my responsibility to help people work for change in the system and protest against oppression. I strongly believe in the last principle, that we are a part of the interdependent web of life, and I work to protect our environment. So my Save the World group has become the Social Justice Coordinating Council. I urge you to bring your passion and join the Social Justice CC and put your principles into action.
One more step, we will take one more step, till there is peace for us, and everyone will take one more step. One more word, we will say one more word, till every word is heard by everyone. We'll say one more word, one more prayer. We will say one more prayer, till every prayer is shared by everyone. We'll say one more prayer, one more song. We will sing one more song, till every song is sung by everyone. We'll sing one more song.
Is it on? There it is. Yeah. Great. So we're going to do the story for all ages. And if anybody wants to come up and sit down and hang out with me in the front seat, I'd like you to. More than welcome to. Yeah. The first service, we didn't have anybody hanging out in the front, so I'm excited to have you all chilling. Is that it? Nobody else wants to come up? Okay. So, oh, no, there is somebody else coming up. Cool. Yeah. It's excited. This is the first time I've done this. I did it the first service, so I like to see the little kids here. Yeah, so it's the social justice service for the UU, and I think that as a Unitarian Universalist, there's a lot of things that align with my own personal beliefs and the way I was raised. And traditionally speaking, when we talk about some of the morals and some of the things that make us equal here, that we're all the same, that I think back on some teachings from Ietoy. And I'm on it means the river people. I'm from Arizona, and we have a spiritual teacher. His name was Ietoy. And Ietoy was like the Buddha is to the Buddhists. He was like Jesus is to the Christians. And the Ietoy came to this planet here from the stars, and he spread a message of equality and what it means to be included into the cycle of life. That we're not separate from each other, that all separation is just illusion. And he lived those truths, and he taught those things. And there's a ceremony that we have once a year back home, and they have cactus, and they have saguaro cactus, and there's a fruit that grows on the top of the cactus once a year, and they go out and they collect it, and they have, they do things with it. They prepare it to save for the rest of the year. But with the leftover stuff, they do a ceremonial wine, where they take this fruit that they have once a year, and they make this wine, and they have a round dance. A round dance is like when they have a bunch of gatherings, you have a bunch of people together, and they have a fire in the middle, and people come in and they sing songs of, happiness and equality, and what it means to be connected. And something that Pam was talking about, the interconnectedness of life. I think that it's really important for us to realize our part in that we're not separate from each other, that we come from the stars, we're all made up of the same thing, that inside of us is the same energy beating your heart's the same energy beating mine. And so Ietoy was talking about these things. They're singing songs like this, they're having good stuff. But there were some people that were hanging out outside of it. They were older people, and they were crippled people, and all this stuff. And Ietoy, he said, he said, let's get all of these people, let's get them up and have them dance with us too. And so he started to sing this song, and everybody was round dancing. And as these people started to dance, they started to come up, and they started to rise up above the fire. And as he sang this song, they started to rise higher and higher. And when he sang this song, these people, they became making this pattern, and it was a circular pattern, like a spiral. And they started to rise up. These people who were just about to pass over, they came higher and higher and higher, and they went into the sky, and they became the stars. Because when you die, you return back to where you came from. And they were not separate from it. You can see that design all over in Arizona, this petroglyph where it's a spiral, and it's going around. That's a symbol for the Milky Way, Itam Tomak. And the song that he sang, it goes like this. Oh no, Toma, Toma, how was Toma, one se corapejima. I so open your way, one se corapejima. I tam seringa boy go I don't know tomato I know it's a tama one se ancora pejima I so open your way one se ancora pejima tam seringa boy go oh, no, esse tamama, você agora pedima. I so open your way, você agora pedima. I tam seringa boy go ôi tổ nô tơ ma tơ mơ hơi nơi sẽ tơ mơ mơ quân sẽ cô la bê chỉ mơ số bên nhớ nhớ vậy quân sẽ cô la bê chỉ mơ tầm sẽ rình vô bôi cô ôi tổ nô tơ ma tơ nơi sẽ tơ mơ mơ quân sẽ cô la bê chỉ mơ rồi bên nhớ nhớ vậy vẫn sẽ cô đã biết chỉ mong ít tầm một sự tình cả vô bội cô con ai tu nô tơ ma tơ mơ nơi sẽ tơ mơ mơ vẫn sẽ cô đã biết chỉ mong rồi bên nhớ nhớ vậy vẫn sẽ cô đã biết chỉ mong that song they sing is the song that unites us all, that we're all made up of the same thing and that we're not separate from each other. And there's something that we wanted to raise awareness to about here. That here in Spokane that there used to be salmon that lived in the river and it fed a lot of stuff. And the salmon itself was they haven't been able to come home because there's been dams that have been in place. And the Nez Perce tribe has been trying to breach a dam by Clarkson in Washington here, and they need some help locally to raise awareness for this. That these dams that are in place that are inhibiting the salmon to return home are blocking them, and these dams no longer serve any purpose to the electrical grid. And so we really need some help for people to come out there. As the salmon don't come back here because of the dams, the orca in the Sound and Puget Sound are dying. The babies are dying, and this is the reason. Why? Because there is no salmon coming through here. So we really need some help in Clarkson, Washington. And if anybody needs any information about how to get involved, we're going to do a big flotilla September 8th through 7th and 8th down in Clarkson, Washington, and we'd like to see some folks there. And if anybody needs any more information or wants to get in contact with me, I'm going to be in the back with the big, just long hair. So thanks.
Social justice is not only about what we do, it's also about what we give. Let us now gratefully give and receive this morning's offering, which sustains this community and its mission to the larger world.
Thank you, Michelina. We're now going to kindle our candles of care for those who are most on our hearts and minds this morning, and want to begin with a candle on behalf of Tara and Ryan Price. Tara, as many of you know, has had some health issues related to her pregnancy. She did have to be hospitalized earlier this week, and to her surprise, a day later, Evan James Martin Price was born. He is about 34 weeks early, even at 7 pounds 14 ounces. But there's a few issues. They want to keep him in ICU for a few more days. So it's both cause for celebration, but also for concern. So please keep all of them in your thoughts at this time. Also had a request from Ruth French, whose 2-year-old granddaughter Elena had her tonsils removed on Friday and developed pneumonia from that, and she asked that we please, here's Ruth, please keep her in our thoughts as well. And then Brian Jokala is having open heart surgery Thursday at 7 a.m. at Sacred Heart, and has specifically requested that if you will write it down at 7 a.m., send him as many loving, healing thoughts and prayers as you can. He's specifically asked that of you. So please do. So let's take a moment of silence on behalf of others you might be thinking of this morning, and as always, you'd be welcome to name them aloud at this time if you'd like. Those named aloud and those embraced in our silence, and all those who are suffering in our world at this hour, we hold in our community with compassion.
Hi, I'm Nancy Avery, the Pride Team leader here at UU Church. The Pride Team serves as a resource for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and questioning people and their allies in our church and in the larger community. In January, I was asked if we had a senior LGBTQ group by someone in Spokane. I said, no, we did not. But in typical UU fashion, we made that happen. The group gathers for coffee and conversation, a potluck lunch, lunch out on the town, once a month. What began in February as a group of 17 people has a Facebook following now of 140. The greatest hope or need for this group? To not feel so alone and isolated. A young man apologized to me for attending one of the gatherings, saying he didn't realize it was for seniors. I asked him, did you feel welcome? His reply, I haven't felt so welcomed or felt such a sense of belonging in 10 years. In that spirit of knowing that we are not alone and that all are welcome in this sacred space, let us enter into a moment of silence.
Good morning. My name is Steve Parker. Immigration Justice, previously the Sanctuary Group, is the UU Church of Spokane group that advocates for at-risk immigrants. This group has raised money through collections and a Latin music fundraiser with the help of the Smith Barbieri Foundation. To date, we have used nearly $10,000 to provide immigrant legal consultations in the community and to people jailed in Spokane by ICE. We have also paid some of the resulting bonds and bails and assisted with legal defense fees. In addition, we have funded 2 people in obtaining citizenship, and this last week we paid the re-registration fees for a DACA recipient. The Spokane Immigrant Rights Coalition, or shortened to SIRC, was formed by our group in collaboration with other local groups to provide Know Your Rights education, rapid response for ICE and Border Patrol raids, and legal defense assistance for immigrants. A Unitarian Universalist Assembly grant of $20,000 was awarded to SIRC to fund these activities. SIRC is now providing Know Your Rights workshops for our community. This knowledge helps people to prepare in advance in the event of an arrest. In addition, this training gives impacted immigrants the tools to help them to appropriately respond and deal with law enforcement in the event that they are pulled over or if ICE agents come to their home, school, or place of work. You may have read in the Inlander or even in the Spokesman Review recently about some of the activity going on at the Intermodal Center. And ICE and Border Patrol agents are stopping people. They're going on the buses. One of the things that we are doing is we are handing out, ACLU has provided little Know Your Rights, little pamphlets. We hand out to everybody that is getting on and off of the bus to help them to understand how to deal with the law enforcement activities. The rapid response team is used in case of a raid where trained people quickly respond to record and document the event and help arrange for various family resources and or legal assistance as needed. To contribute to this social justice effort, this is how you can help. 1, attend a Know Your Rights workshop. And these are really quite interesting. 2, assist with a Know Your Rights workshop, making cookies, sandwiches, or helping to set up. 3, join a committee or volunteer for tasks to facilitate a Know Your Rights workshop, participate in a rapid response team, or help to raise funds for legal assistance. 4, donate to the Legal Defense Fund. To get involved in immigration justice, please see me or anyone at our little table back there in the fellowship hall after the service for more information. Thank you.
Well, those of you who have been members for a long time, or even visitors and friends that come, know that this church uses a lot of social justice music to get the word out and to support all of our members in keeping going. And one of the stars in our firmament is Pam Larrett, who actually writes original songs for us for many services and has done so for about 6 years. Well, Pam has another new original song for you this morning, but she has something else. She has her newly minted CD at the table in the back, and that includes many of the songs she's written for church as well as a few others. So the church does get half of the proceeds for one of these CDs, so that's another way to support what we do. Pam, thank you so much. Enjoy.
Thank you. Jose from Honduras is a foster child today.
blue and broken hearted, since his dad was locked away. They came here for asylum from terror all around, hoping for to get freedom on solid ground. Like water for the thirsty, this land was fair and kind, taking all who left trouble behind, with freedom and mercy in mind. The global warming crisis, deep as it is wide, will take a world of people to turn the tide of all that fossil fuel burning the planet down, as we breathe in the smoke of smoldering ground. Mother Earth has many holdings to share with humankind. Protect what's left of water, soil, and air, with mother and mercy in mind. When judges side with power, ignoring history, white power lights the torch, spreading bigotry. Hundreds of hate groups release the devil's hounds on millions of our brothers, still on uneven ground. But white power gave us a movement. No need to sound the alarm, 'cause love conquers hate, justice overcomes when we have freedom and mercy in mind. When Barbara Jordan had the floor in 1974, that was a face of justice like I never seen before. Her question for the Congress led one way for sure, and Richard Nixon stepped down on such solid ground. When big money stops buying politicians and they bring down corruption and crime, When 1% stops milking the 99, they got freedom and mercy in mind. They got freedom and mercy in mind.
Thank you, Pam. So today is noted as an opportunity to celebrate our successes, to highlight what we are doing, and to look at the opportunities and needs before us regarding social justice. But make no mistake, Social Justice Sunday is not about today, but about all we have done and must continue doing every day. For no spiritual journey is ever complete. I'll repeat that. No spiritual journey is ever complete until it comes down to earth, until its dogma becomes its pragma, until its faith is put into action, until it aids in the establishment of heaven here on earth. Unitarians have recognized this since our beginning 2,000 years ago when we refused to embrace the Roman Empire's deification of Jesus, insisting it is not faith in, but the faith of Jesus that can save the world by putting his humanitarian teachings into practice. More than 1,000 years later, Bishop Francis David of Transylvania, where I just spent some time, who helped make Unitarianism a legally recognized religion for the first time, was arrested for violating innovation laws by insisting that we should not be praying to Christ. He soon fell ill and died a martyr in prison. Today we continue to resist the dominant idea that Jesus should be worshipped rather than followed, that he is a God rather than was a man, that his blood will save our souls rather than his teachings save our society. Today we need not mention his name in our services or recite his teachings, but we continue recognizing in them the qualities essential to human well-being and fulfillment, respecting, including, and caring for one another. From our ancient insistence upon his humanity, his humanness, came our greater emphasis upon his humanitarian teachings, and from this our devotion to all human beings and to our own human agency. And from this, even the birth of religious humanism right here in our own congregation, our insistence that the sole criterion of everything we do should be for the welfare of humanity, including protecting our earth and our brother and sister beings, and the development of each person's full potential. This is the theological history and grounding for our unyielding commitment to the work of social justice, to our insistence that religion is not about what we believe, it's about what we do. And as far as the Unitarian Universalist Church of Spokane goes, it's what we've been doing ever since our beginning, 131 years ago. It's why our very first minister, Edwin Willock, came to us with a bounty on his head, wanted dead or alive for preaching favorably of abolitionist John Brown in Virginia. And by the way, if you didn't know it, Edwin Willock was also the founder of the Republican Party in Texas. So, we can't hold it against him, though, because that's back when they were Democrats. So during those early years, even as the church struggled at times with no home of its own, existing, as it said, from pillar to post, they managed enough, as our minutes say from those days, to outfit a promising little deaf girl so she could attend the school for the deaf in Vancouver, Washington. We provided her with shoes and hats and clothes and the like throughout her education, and our Women's Alliance spent much of the summertime sewing new clothes for her. And during the Great Depression, after a request for help, we also spent many years collecting and sending used clothes and shoes and bedding and whatever else we could find to the residents of Lewiston, Montana. We held benefits to support the Social Service Bureau's Baby Milk Fund, to purchase books for our public library, and furnishings for the YMCA. When we turned 50 in 1938, the local paper included an article stating, recognizing the right of private judgment, the sacredness of individual convictions, the moral obligation to be faithful to one's best thoughts, but requiring no assent to any theological creed as a basis of fellowship. The Unitarian Society welcomes all who desire to promote the religion of truth, righteousness, and freedom. Since then, we helped establish organizations in our community like the Spokane Human Relations Council, the Fair Housing Center, the Spokane chapter of the American Civil Liberties Union, Planned Parenthood, the Peace Justice Action League of Spokane, and the Spokane Alliance. Upon first speaking to Reverend Hollis Breadaway, some of you remember Hollis Breadaway, the interim minister here before I came to Spokane, he told me that he'd got involved with this church because he'd heard that it was having some troubles and he wanted to help. Not because he was a nice guy, which he is, but because he told me the Unitarians have been behind everything good that's ever happened in Spokane. I'm afraid of what might happen if the Unitarian Church isn't here anymore. I've had the great privilege of being your minister for just over 7 years, during which we've been engaged in social justice in ways that even I can't keep up with. Our activism was, of course, crucial to legalizing same-sex marriage in our state, which began a cascade of similar decisions around the nation, then the world, until finally the Supreme Court decided to make it legal nationwide just a couple years later. Putting our money where our mouth is, our faith into action, we installed a 75-panel solar array on our roof, the largest such array on any church in the Northwest. We've been involved in environmental initiatives like Proposition 2 here in Spokane just this past year, which would have fined coal and oil companies for unsafely transporting their product through our community. It failed locally, but gave our governor the language that he needed to reject the final proposed coal export facility off our Washington shores. We were involved in legalizing marijuana in our state. The only church mentioned in the documentary. If you haven't seen that documentary, it's called Evergreen, The Road to Marijuana Legalization in Washington. And by the way, more importantly, this act cut the number of traffic stops in our state in half, helping to prevent non-whites and the poor from having potentially disastrous encounters with law enforcement. And that's why it was important to do. We helped pass Initiative 1491 in 2016, empowering families and the courts to prevent those considered dangerous or a risk from obtaining firearm permits. We worked to pass the Sick and Safe Leave Bill here in Spokane, as well as Initiative 1433 requiring a statewide increase in minimum wage and sick leave benefits for part-time workers. Our church building was the first home of Spokane Moves to Amend, supporting Initiative 735, seeking to overturn Citizens United with a constitutional amendment making it clear that money is not free speech and corporations are not persons. That's right. And voters passed that initiative statewide in 2016. Even now, many of us are working to support Initiative 1631, the Clean Energy Jobs Bill, which will tax polluters and use the money for green energy and jobs. We give away thousands of dollars every year to worthy local organizations and causes, have helped support African American churches thrive and to build new community centers, and, as you heard, to get ICE detainees out of jail. We've had members engaging in, even being arrested during the recent Poor People's Campaign. We continue to give scholarships to single mothers seeking college educations. We have members who have been homeless, living on our property, where they're able to find safety and support that they need in order to concentrate on improving their situations, which they are doing, as valued members of our community. We have, again, as you heard, a chapter of the Unitarian Universalist for Justice in the Middle East, seeking to find a resolution to the conflict there while also courageously and honestly being able to discuss the plight of the Palestinians and the injustices and oppression that they are enduring. Many of us help support the education of poor students around the world, whether those living in our partner church in Velsharokos, Transylvania, or some in Nepal, or some in other places. And amidst all of this, and so much more, we somehow find the time to show up to our city council meetings, and to marches, and to demonstrations in droves. And I could go on and on and on about all that we engage in, but instead I'm going to stop for a few minutes and allow some of our members engaged in specific areas of social justice to talk more in detail about what they're up to. First is going to be Mary Lou Johnson, who's going to talk about our relationship and work with the Spokane Alliance. Then Pat Warpenberg and Georgette Thornton will come up and say something about our important Fight to Go program.
Thank you for this opportunity. My name is Mary Lou Johnson, and I am co-chair of the church's Spokane Alliance team. The Spokane Alliance is a very dynamic, nonpartisan organization of 30 churches, labor unions, and nonprofits representing about 20,000 people in Spokane. Its mission is to organize for the common good, to build stronger community, and to build stronger member organizations like our church. I think it serves as a sorely needed model in today's very divisive climate. Its diverse membership bridges divides between religions and socioeconomic classes, and it's working to bridge racial and ethnic divides as well. The Spokane Alliance is a part of the Industrial Areas Foundation, or IAF for short, which was a national social justice organization founded by Saul Alinsky. He began organizing blue-collar factory communities in Chicago during the Great Depression of the 1930s. So I want you to imagine living in 1930 in Chicago, and you're a meat packer and the head of a family. You're facing constant pressures from a lack of healthy housing. You have difficulty with workplace safety. You have no health care. And you have inadequate education for your children. Alinsky helped the people recognize the world as it is for them currently and move them to create the world as it should be, by training them to organize in their own self-interest to build stronger and healthier communities. Since that time, in 1940, the IAF has expanded nationally and abroad. We have 60 affiliates in 23 states in the United States, one of them here in Spokane. So now, fast forward to today, you're living in Spokane, and imagine yourself as someone with a mental illness who is repeatedly ending up in jail for minor infractions. You lose the place you were staying and the few belongings you had, including your medicine, and your mental illness worsens. The Spokane Alliance helped convince city and county leaders to create a mental health crisis stabilization facility to divert the mentally ill who are involved in minor crimes away from the jail and toward services. Legislative funding for that facility was appropriated this past legislative session. This was a huge win for criminal justice reform. It follows the Alliance win the previous year in 2016 on the Sick and Safe Leave in campaign. Currently, the Spokane Alliance is engaged in a lot of other ongoing campaigns. One is to achieve more job opportunities for young people and for veterans. It's creating apprenticeship opportunities on public sector jobs, like the building of the new sports complex. Another campaign is to reform our state's upside-down tax code, which ranks as the most regressive in the entire country. A third is to address local healthcare needs with mobile clinics in partnership with the WSU Medical School. So the work on these campaigns and others is accomplished by a diverse group of people like you from member organizations in the Alliance coming together to identify an issue that can be addressed, researching that issue, and then acting to achieve the solution. And that is how we got a crisis intervention center. But as I said, the IAF chapters have dual purposes. So we're creating stronger communities by being engaged externally in these campaigns. But we also focus on creating stronger member institutions, our church. The Spokane Alliance team is working on both these goals. And what it's doing internally is reflected in our church strategic plan. First, we help identify church leaders through a series of one-to-one meetings. These are meetings where two individuals come together to build a public relationship. That's as opposed to a friendship or a business relationship. And during that meeting, both people share their personal stories, discuss what most motivates them in life, and then identify values and highest concerns. Then, for those interested individuals, we can connect them with leadership training opportunities. The second thing we're doing, which we're hoping some of you have already engaged in, is brown bag listening sessions on a church issue or an alliance issue. There'll be an upcoming session on church safety that we'll be doing in concert with the risk management team here at church. This year, we also conducted sessions on our upside-down regressive tax system, and we did discuss how the WSU mobile medical clinics could be used. Next June, we have an amazing opportunity because the UUA General Assembly will be here in Spokane. What we, the Spokane Alliance team, is interested in doing is potentially helping to facilitate a meeting of 200 UU congregations from across the United States that are involved in organizing. 114 of those associate with the Industrial Areas Foundation, which is what the Spokane Alliance also does. While I was researching about our involvement and the UU Church's involvement in organizing, I learned that we, UU churches in the United States, represent only 1% of the congregations. However, we represent 4% of churches that are engaged in community organizing through groups like the Spokane Alliance. Now, I happen to think that our UUA overachieving status in this area is because we actually recognize the value of organizing to gain power in really targeted campaigns that we can win. The ultimate goal of the Spokane Alliance is a renewed, vibrant democracy with stronger and healthier communities and with stronger institutions. By organizing together, we can make that happen. So I'd love to talk to you after the service. Remember the red shirt? I'll be in the back. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Georgette Thornton, and for the past several years, I've been the coordinator of the Bite to Go program. And throughout the school year of 2017 and 2018, 28 congregation members have been sponsors of the Bite to Go program and have provided 953 lunch kits to 28 students in need at the Balboa Elementary School. Many of these same sponsors have also given their time on a Saturday morning at Second Harvest to join in the Big Build, which is a program where we actually put these lunch kits together and then they are distributed weekly to the Balboa School. Additionally, through a special collection in December, we gifted each child that's in this program with a $25 gift card to have them take home to their parents, or we gave it to the parents actually, to provide food for these children over the Christmas holidays. We would now like to show you what your sponsorship means to many of these children at Balboa throughout the weekend.
The issue with childhood hunger, it's relevant, it's real, it's happening in our own city, and I, 10 years ago, was totally unaware.
Approximately 85% of our kids qualify for free or reduced lunch.
They may not know where their next meal is going to come from at home.
They're very lethargic on Monday morning. They're not going to listen. They may fall asleep in class.
And just like you and I, if we miss a meal, we're hangry.
That could come across as apathy, not caring about what's going on. It could trigger some behavior problems.
Because they're in fight or flight, and it's what food am I going to get next?
So the Bite to Go is a program that helps feed hungry kids over the weekend.
It's a wonderful bag of food where they can be non-reliant on an adult and give them that extra nourishment and support throughout the weekend, because they're not going to be getting breakfast from school and they're not getting lunch from school.
Not only does it meet their nutritional needs, but man, we're getting such a big impact with their academics. Fed kid learns. A kid that is fed and learns doesn't misbehave.
By receiving a bag of food on Fridays, that child knows that there are people out there that care about his or her success.
We make differences in the lives of kids because of relationship.
An adoptive organization like Life Center is really investing in a relationship, an opportunity for a relationship with the school.
Life Center, to me, I mean, they are that support system that every school needs and every school wants.
That is such a beautiful picture of the church being the church to help alleviate a problem that's really easy for us to actually take care of.
My hope is that we can get all of the at-risk kids in all the schools fed.
John is one of my favorite people.
John has faithfully come to our warehouse at Second Harvest each week to pick up the Bite to Go packs and then bring them to Sheridan Elementary.
Special man. Actually, 3 years ago, we named him our Volunteer of the Year.
Lugs them all in, rain, snow, or shine. He's brought them in from a block away before in the ice and snow.
And then has mentored. He's been a really faithful mentor here at Sheridan.
I'm retired. I've been looking for ways to give back. I feel like I need to. I've been very fortunate to have a good life.
It's $12 a month to feed one kid. I mean, 24 to feed 2, 36 to feed 3.
We are a microcosm for the world. It just shows that with a little bit of support, with a little bit of care from a lot of people, we can make a world difference for our kids.
It really is about us wanting to serve with no strings attached, just to bring the love and the grace of God into that school and say, how can we help?
What's it worth to do something for a child that needs help and to help them? And what a better thing to do is there?
So just like Life Center supports Sheridan, our very wonderful church is committed to helping the students at Balboa. Unfortunately, this year, the need is greater than ever, and we expect the number of students who will need help to rise. So the food kits, oh, I'm sorry. Should I start over?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So unfortunately, this year, the need is greater than ever, and we expect the number of students who need help to rise. So the food kits that you can see in the back, they don't fulfill a weekend meal by any means, but they do supplement what the students might or might not receive from home. So at the end of the service, please visit our Bite to Go display in the back, and you will see for yourself what that contribution provides. We're also hoping to recruit more sponsors for the 2018-2019 school year to provide weekend kits to deserving students and ensure that they have nutritious food over the holiday break. And also, I want to plug, if you're interested in being a substitute driver pickup, we can use that also. And so, on behalf of all the social justice programs presented today, please step forward with 1 or 2 hours of your time or your financial help to whatever program tugs at your heart. So thank you. May it be so.
Thank you. And before I close, Tom Mosier came up a minute ago and asked if I would remember to talk about a wonderful accomplishment by Reverend Dr. Bill Houff, who is no longer with us, but accomplished quite a bit. I didn't forget. I sort of left him out because I didn't feel I had the time to do justice. So I'm going to take the time to do Bill just a little bit of justice here. Bill Houff happened to come here to ministry in Spokane with a former background as a chemist and a scientist, and he was able to use that background to prove that the Hanford plant was actually leaking radioactivity into the air and the waterway, exposing the downwinder problem. He gave a sermon on the subject, I think it was 1983, called Silent Holocaust. And that, even though he wondered at the time what in the world he could do to stop it, which he expressed in the sermon, it led to the creation of HEAL, the Hanford Education Action League, which many people in our community and in the church community were involved in. They petitioned through the Freedom of Information Act to get thousands of government documents released, which proved indeed that this radioactivity was contaminating the region. And that forced our nation's last nuclear reactor, the one that at least was the type of reactors that were used to create the uranium for the nuclear weapons that were involved in creating the bombs that were dropped on Nagasaki. That happened at Hanford too, if you didn't know it. But anyway, all of that led just 3 years after he gave that sermon to shutting it down. And so he does deserve to be remembered, and this work deserves to be remembered as one of the many things we've been involved in the area of social justice over the years. So Tom, thank you for asking me to take a few extra moments to do a little bit of justice to Bill Houff and that rich legacy. I do want to close quickly by just mentioning a kind of wonderful event, a telling event that happened just this week. A youth event was sponsored by Planned Parenthood that had to be canceled because of the smoke in the air. It was an event that was going to last a few days. And so after canceling it, they immediately called and said, can we use space at the Unitarian Universalist Church? To which, of course, we said, yes, come on. And this really, I think, shows how much our community knows what we are about and that they can count on us anytime for help. Throughout its history, our church has proven vital to the work of social justice in the Spokane area and region. But doing this work has been just as important for the health of our congregation. For if a church is not focusing on the bigger picture, of being a transformative presence in the world. It tends to narrow in on itself, and its small problems seem like the biggest problems, like the only problems, and it can't focus on anything but its own navel. It doesn't mean that we don't have problems or conflicts or that we ignore them, only that we are able to keep them in perspective. Engaging in social justice keeps our congregation healthy, gives us purpose and a sense of solidarity and accomplishment as individuals, and makes our community and our world a bit better for everyone. And I am so grateful to all of you for allowing me to partner with you as we engage together in this important work. May we continue the rich social justice legacy of our church far into the future, and may nobody ever need to ask, what would it be like if the Unitarians weren't here? Thank you.
Let us rise to sing our final hymn, Building a New Way.
Amen. Blessed be. Salam alaikum and shalom.